That's easy. The food. In my limited travels within the US, I stayed. Majority of my time I've stayed in Michigan. A good chunk of my time I stayed in Texas. But I have like also been throughout different places of the US for conference travel. The only place which I could find with decent, like decent in the sense like Indian style, Indian level ka khana was New York. It must be cooking because like that seems like a very high learning curve. जो बंदा PEC के 4 साल में अपने ग्रेजुएट स्कूल के 4 साल में कभी नहीं खाना बनाया, वो आज कबाब बना रहा है. That's definitely the big thing according to my family. But according to me, I would say I became really proficient with like learning how music production works and like how difficult it is in terms of doing it, but it's not impossible. So that's the other thing, I guess. I'm a big fan of Tintin, and when I was young, I collected all the books, like all 23, 24 of them. I actually started my own comic strip, and like I actually drew the whole comic strip. Pre-PEC, I was naive. Half of us are not able to think in the terms of like how simplistic life could have been had we kept on the confidence and the knowledge levels of a freshman. But then that changed for sure. That like I was overconfident before PEC. I was confident after PEC. I was not sure how important academics were in life before PEC. After PEC, I was very sure that they played some role, but they were not the most important thing in your life. PEC, for all the unknown reasons, PEC kind of prepared me to come here. Sherlock Holmes, probably. It would just enormously improve my data analysis in the of my research. I mean, imagine like in the day and age of computer, the version of Sherlock Holmes that Benedict Cumberbatch's show was able to bring out was not good enough. Like, you can do so much research today just on your computer. For a guy who can super analyze even the smallest of details, that person would rock at places like Google and or Microsoft, where like you have so much data to analyze. I don't think Sherlock Holmes would be a detective in the modern world, unless of course that person like Sherlock Holmes had a flair for murders anyway. So or like for a crime. So yeah, I mean that would be an interesting approach. I would be interested to think of a character like Sherlock Holmes during a time like the Corona, where people are clueless and even some amount of knowledge, some amount of insight would be useful. Half of the credit for that goes to the internships I got during college. Half of the credit goes to Nupur, who prodded me with spaces not something that you should underlook, or like you should definitely take a look at that. The internship that I enjoyed the most would probably be the one at IIT Madras in my second year, because I would just go and eat whatever I could. I did not know South Indian food could be that good before I went there. I fell in love with filter coffee and the kind of like dosas that South Indian, like in and around IIT Madras that they make, is what like actually prodded me to go later on to Bangalore for another internship. Like I mean, both places have like amazing food. Those internships were mostly prodded out of they originated out of my scientific interest, but ended up being a culinary delight. The internship that I got the most out of would probably be my internship with my boss, Dan Welling, my present PhD advisor. He and I met a long time ago. That internship started in April. It turned into a PhD offer by mid-June. And by July, I had presented that work at 2 different conferences in a way. So that was like more like that was, and then obviously like went on ahead to come to this place. Like a dream job is something like CEO of a big company or the president of the US. Taking small steps towards that dream job, that's where I am at. That's where like most students are. I am a little further ahead, but that doesn't mean that like they won't be able to catch up with me. That would probably be my switch from aerospace engineering to space sciences. That I was totally not sure. I had like no clue. It's like going from a field that you have been trained for in the last 4 years to a field that you have no clue about. Like it is not it is not like switching from one branch of engineering to another branch. Space physics is literally physics. It involves a lot of engineering. Core tenet of it is theoretical physics or like classical physics. And I was like, I don't know if I know this. I don't know if I am sure about this. And the first few months made it difficult because when I switched, the only person who was actually willing to have me work for them was this professor from who does work on heliophysics. That's very difficult for someone with no knowledge about solar physics to understand in like 4 months and contribute valuable fashion. The first few months were like a little difficult. As time went by the third month, I was actually like I had gotten to a point that I was good enough to get results. At the same time, I was taking courses, so like coursework really helped my knowledge be strengthened about these knowledges. And that switch lasted all the way to the internship with Dan that I mentioned, and it ended on a very nice note. I took a course on that, and I was able to make a project on that, like out of that course. That project I submitted report to a competition that used to be held like a long time ago by the Community Coordinated Modeling Center of NASA, which hosts different models to predict how the near-Earth space environment would react to electromagnetic dangers. I had won student contest for some reason, and I was like as a person who has no idea about like what this field does, something like this is like a great validation to say that like I'm not in the wrong track.